Simple and plain. To be the best, you have to win. That's why I play the game.
So the Lakers have brought in a number of guys this offseason. As we already know, we brought in Russell Westbrook and a number of key veteran guys and some youth as well. But when you're a franchise who's constantly after the ultimate goal of winning a championship, some tough decisions need to be made. And some guys that have been there before who've helped you in the past need to be let go. For example, Alex Caruso, who was one of my favorite players on the Lakers and who I thought out of everyone played the best as a role player alongside LeBron James, but ultimately the Lakers decided to let him go. And another player that the Lakers have decided to let go, as we all know, is the veteran Jared Dudley. Now, whilst Jared Dudley hasn't played much for the Lakers in terms of playing time on the court over the past 2 years, there's no doubt that he's had a positive influence in the locker room and on the sidelines, helping our young guys and really bringing that camaraderie to the team. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Why did the Lakers ultimately decide not to bring Jared Dudley back? And are we going to miss what he's brought to the table over the past couple of seasons? But before we get into that, I want you guys to comment down below, out of all the players that the Lakers didn't bring back or traded, who do you think the Lakers will miss most this season? Comment down below right now. So a guy like Jared Dudley is a guy that's going to come into a room and really light it up, really crack some jokes. And I've always said Jared Dudley is one of my favorite people to listen to just because of his presence and the way he talks about the game, the way he talks about the players. He's a real character, and that's essentially what he's been for this Lakers team over the past couple of years. He's been the locker room guy. And in a serious environment when there's so much pressure on the players these days, every team that's looking for a championship needs that guy in the locker room that's going to crack some jokes, make everyone smile, and make, the locker room and the practice facility a fun and enjoyable place to be. Because that's what makes coming to work every day worth it. And that goes for everyone in normal life as well. You always have that one guy that you work with, that you look forward to working with, and makes work a lot more enjoyable than it usually is. And we have to remember, NBA players are human as well. Although they have this amazing talent, they're just like me and you at the end of the day. So these guys are really important. So on one hand, you have a guy like Jared Dudley, who's lighting up the locker room and really making it a positive place, building the team camaraderie, and who's also acting as an assistant coach to those young guys in the team. Jared Dudley always spoke about his main purpose on the team was to get the best out of guys like Kyle Kuzma in terms of development, trying to get these guys as consistent jump shooters. All right, we've got that down pat now. All right, let's work on defense. Let's work out how we can be more versatile on the defensive end. Okay, we're getting better on that end. Let's work out how we can slow our game down a little bit more to be a more effective player. These are the sorts of things that Jared Dudley was working on with Kyle Kuzma, and then he also worked alongside THT, trying to develop his game, trying to develop his shot, trying to develop him as a defender as well. So essentially that's been Jared Dudley's role over the past couple of seasons for the Los Angeles Lakers, the locker room guy / assistant coach. But on the other hand, you're paying a guy a minimum contract who's taking up a position of a player who you could have brought in to actually play some solid minutes for the team. And then ultimately what happened in the playoffs, Anthony Davis got injured, LeBron James got injured during the season, and we didn't really have solid depth at those positions. And that's not solely the fault of Jared Dudley taking up a position of someone else, because I think if this team's 100% healthy, what he brings off the court really puts us over the top of some other teams. But in saying that, it could have helped to have a veteran guy like a DeMarcus Cousins to come in for when Anthony Davis was injured. Or if LeBron James is injured, maybe a guy like Andre Iguodala, just for the sake of an example. And honestly, I'm pretty surprised that the Lakers haven't brought Jared Dudley back, just because I think he's been, there from the start. And he's been a real key in terms of building a championship culture since the arrival of Anthony Davis. But in saying that, if we really break it down and have a look at this roster compared to the last 2 seasons, what we've done is brought in a lot of experience, and a lot of good experience at that. We've got Russell Westbrook now, we've got Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, Trevor Ariza, Wayne Ellington. So we've gone out and got guys that can still play effective roles on a team whilst bringing that experience. And I think that's ultimately why the front office have made this decision, because you kill two birds with one stone, whereas Jared Dudley's not going to give you those consistent minutes throughout the regular season and then ultimately in the playoffs. And then if we were to ask a young NBA player, who would you want advice from in terms of developing your game? Carmelo Anthony or a guy like Jared Dudley? And I'm pretty sure that 99 out of 100 of those young players would say Carmelo Anthony, because he's seen just about everything in this league. Alright, you want to work on offense? I can show you this. You want to work on defensive schemes? Alright, I've been able to do this throughout my career. So you can start to see why the front office may have made this decision. But then one would think, okay, you don't want him to fill in a roster spot, so to speak, as a player. Why not bring him back as an assistant coach? But then you got to think, we've already got guys like Phil Handy, we've already got defensive-minded coaches in Frank Vogel, and is Jared Dudley actually an assistant coach, or is he just a voice on the sideline? And then he goes on to sign with the Dallas Mavericks as an assistant coach, so obviously the Dallas Mavericks thinks he has some sort of coaching qualities there that maybe the Lakers just didn't see in Jared Dudley. I'm not too sure. And then in a recent interview that Jared Dudley took, he was talking about how he talked to Rob, he talked to Kurt Rambis, and he gets why the front office is trying to bring in these young guys and trying to make the team more youthful. But he feels like they made the wrong decision in not bringing him back, because he feels like he brings so much to the table. But then when you look at the team, we literally have one of the oldest teams, if not the oldest team in the league, so that doesn't really make sense when he's saying stuff like that. And in the overall scheme of things, is not bringing Jared Dudley back to this team going to hurt our chances of winning an NBA championship? Absolutely not. But could it help? Absolutely he can, because he's already proven that he can help this team win a championship. So overall, it's kind of an awkward situation, and I see both sides' perspectives, but at the end of the day, I wish Jared Dudley the best on the Dallas Mavericks. And he's going to be a Laker for life in my eyes anyway. And I'm honestly going to miss him being on the sidelines as well. But I guess it just wasn't meant to be. But that's my thoughts on the whole Jared Dudley situation. Let me know your thoughts now in the comments. Do you think the Lakers should have brought him back? Or do you think they should have done what they did and let him go? But that's going to do it for this video, guys. As always, I appreciate everyone who's been rocking with the channel. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to subscribe right now so you don't miss out on any future Laker videos just like this one. But for now, it's been your boy Jay from Lakers Exclusive. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.